All right, so let's talk about this. If Microsoft gives Starfield to PlayStation, what does Xbox become? Let's find out, shall we? Things are escalating quickly in Xbox rumor mill, which are most less rumor and more likely official policy of Microsoft has not yet figured out how announced the situation quickly spins away from them. Now, while it all started to report a data mine confirmation of Wi-Fi or Hi-Fi Rush is coming to PlayStation and Switch, it has now grown to a point where apparent massive shift of Xbox's entire game philosophy is on the way. Their game philosophy was more games, more places, wasn't it? More people to play more games. Wasn't that their philosophy? I could have sworn that's what the drum was being beaten, at least for the last 3 years. Reports that it may release the biggest games of the generation so far, Starfield. Oh, now it's the biggest game of a generation. PlayStation 5 and sometime coming this year. And past that, they're doing the same with Indiana Jones and The Great Circle via The Verge. Now, just a preview auction from the Machine Games. Now, I'll focus on Starfield as repetitive for everything else because it's probably the single biggest Xbox exclusive of a generation, likely higher profile than even future titles like Perfect Dark or Fable. And the biggest until Elder Scrolls 6, I imagine, but the Xbox giving it over in PlayStation would be like The Last of Us or God of War Spider-Man being passed across the aisles, which would clearly never happen. So why is Xbox doing this? I have a question. Because God of War and Spider-Man have been passed across the aisle. Why do people not look at PC as a platform? Why is it that people do not look at PC as a platform? I don't understand this. Is it because the narrative of they're just talking about consoles? Like a platform's a platform. PC is a platform. Console's a platform, right? And within that platform of consoles, we have Microsoft, PlayStation, and Nintendo, which is like mobile as well, okay? Why is it always not mentioned? They're like, it's never been across the aisle, but it is. God of War, Last of Us, Spider-Man are all on PC as well. Is the sky falling over at Sony too? Because if it's falling out over here, it's got to be falling over there as well, okay? This seems to have leaked out because in some sort of internal strife within the Xbox about its plan, about there's cases for or against, and the main idea for Xbox has lost the console war for 2 generations now, and they're going to just stop pretending otherwise. They have repeatedly said that the future in the service is bringing Xbox games to as many people as possible. On the other player side, Xbox owners still get their day one Game Pass launches, and PlayStation players now get the same games eventually. Win-win. Except that there's now being received more widely. The concept raises so many questions. It's hard to know where it starts. For starters, it would make a premise of buying Xbox for Microsoft promised a big lineup of exclusive relatively pointless, and players who have already bought it into the ecosystem based on Microsoft's stated plans about big future games are undoubtedly upset at the result. But why? As a gamer, why are you upset that someone else gets to play the game that you're playing? I don't understand this. Why am I upset that you get to play a game that I also can play? Because I bought it out of the box? I was lied to. Starfield. They told me Starfield was only going to be on Xbox and now it's coming to PlayStation. Well, do you own a PlayStation? Do you own a PlayStation up to this point? No? If you have a PlayStation, now you can go play it over there. And if you have an Xbox, you can play it there. If you have a PC, you can play it there. If you don't have it, and you bought an Xbox because of that, then what's the problem? You played it on the Xbox, okay? It says, the ecosystem based on Microsoft's stated plans about the big future games is understandably upset as a result. Why buy an Xbox for Xbox games when you can buy a PlayStation and get the PlayStation and Xbox games? You still got to pay. It's not like it's just coming over to PlayStation for free. You got to buy the game. In terms of Microsoft's goals for Game Pass, how does that further that? Presumably, something like Starfield is just going to be offered for sale for $70 on PlayStation, so this does nothing to increase the game's subscription, only to give less reason to buy an Xbox in the first place. But why does Microsoft care, right? Why does Microsoft care if they sell less Xboxes? That's less money out of their pocket that they have to produce a box. They could literally just sell the stuff to other companies and make 70% of everything instead of 100% of nothing. Do people understand how businesses work? I'm not sure they do. It's also a signal perhaps the Game Pass is not quite as healthy as Microsoft lets on. And to justify the enormous development costs of the game like Starfield or Indiana Jones, it turns out you need to sell it for $70. They sold 6.5 million. They sold 6.5 million copies of it on Steam alone. And it didn't cost as much as here we go again, because I'm saying Spider-Man, not to shit on it. Spider-Man cost $315 million. Starfield, I think, cost $250 million, and it sold 6.5 million just on Steam, and other people bought it on Xbox, which is over 7 million copies sold. Spider-Man sold 6 million copies, and they have to sell 7, right? Which they think they will. No problem about that. So why is this a problem? I don't understand. So now they want to sell more of it. It makes no sense to me, okay? So it turns out that the people outside of Xbox Game Pass ecosystem, this is specifically makes Starfield feel like a failure and makes it feel like a failure, but it's not a failure. That needs extra juice from a direct rival, or the lack of confidence of Indiana Jones will pull its weight without a wider release. There's also a sense of Xbox community, something Microsoft has cultivated for decades now. Rallying that the fan base will also suits them but it's also for the, even if they can't argue, it's a good business. Essentially destroying the loyalty. Years and years of Microsoft saying, bear with us through the rocky Xbox One generation, and some level of hope and the new development of the big acquisitions would give Xbox games it needs to compete. And now this has happened. But it is compete. This is not about console sales anymore. I don't understand why people keep missing the point, okay? It feels like an all of nothing situation. There's some idea that maybe applying to big Bethesda-based games like Starfield and Indiana Jones, but not the core games like Halo. Oh, but wait, maybe the Master Chief Collection, and maybe this is the other game, or that game. At this point, players are going to have no faith in knowing what is actually being Xbox Game Pass exclusive, or going towards the Microsoft is just picking and choosing randomly, or saying that this thing changes their mind later, in which this happens right now. With this, Xbox essentially becomes a third-party publishing brand for some reason, still makes hardware, but also they want to subscribe to Game Pass, but you don't need an Xbox for that. And you also need to be exclusive games anymore, either maybe just early access or not. Who knows? Microsoft is supposed to be explaining all of this soon, but it also doesn't think this will be the spin it makes to be sound like a good idea. This feels like an endpoint of a failing cultivated meaningful exclusive compared to rivals in the way of overplanning or overplaying their hand of Game Pass. This happens. It's not just be at the end of Xbox, but it'll also be the end of the form it takes of 4 generations. I don't think in any way, shape, or form this means the end of Xbox, okay? Because if you want to buy an Xbox, you can buy an Xbox. Why would you buy an Xbox? That's completely different. Maybe you don't have good internet and you don't want to play cloud gaming on your Samsung TV or on your mobile phone. Maybe you already have a PlayStation and you didn't want to buy an Xbox, and now you don't have to buy an Xbox if this all goes through. The fact that people are upset that the game that they... I'm trying to put myself in this scenario here. If I'm a huge Xbox fan, right? If I'm a huge Xbox fan, I have an Xbox. I've been playing on Xbox for a certain amount of months and years, and now they say that we're moving all this stuff over to the other consoles. As an Xbox person, why do I care? Now I'm like, oh, cool. I already have the Xbox, and now more people get to play, right? Like, for instance, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is a third-party game, but it's cross-play, right? So as a gamer, I'm happy because now I get to play with people that are my friends that are on PlayStation and also on PC, and we can all play together. I don't see a problem with this in any way, shape, or form, because as a consumer, why do I care if the hardware store goes out of business? There's another hardware store. Yes, competition, okay? I'd be more worried about the competition because now PlayStation has to fight against Nintendo because they're in the console war together, right? Even though before, Nintendo wasn't in the console war. It was just PlayStation and Xbox, right? And Nintendo was just over there. But now if Xbox forfeits and leaves the console war, PlayStation has to pick on somebody, so they have to go over to the console wars of Nintendo, okay? So good luck to you with the new console wars, but Microsoft is going to continue on because it doesn't matter about the business if they make the hardware or just make the software, because they're still making money across the board, and they would rather make 70% of everything, of the additional 200 million people that have PlayStation and Nintendo, then make 0% of that while they're over here, okay? These are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you think about Xbox if and when they happen to take all their console games and move them over to third-party games? Is this over for Xbox? Is this the end of the world for Xbox? Let me know in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, and subscribe. If you like some of our other videos, please check them out here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.